Hello, good evening everybody, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 5, Round 11 here for the Canadian Grand Prix. It is the start of the playoffs once again. I'm your commentator Omar, with me is Jacko, and Canada, what a place to start these playoffs, huh?
Yeah, we've got a lovely history with Canada, haven't we? Let me just get this tweet out. Yeah, we love Canada, Owen. But this season we brought it slightly more forward. Still a playoff race, but in the drama it's caused, we thought we may as well take it away from the last round of playoffs and just see if it calms everybody down a little bit, because they're not as desperate at this point. Still important, but not as desperate.
Well, you could say they would be as desperate, but of course, instead of a late dropout of the playoffs, we could see some shock early dropouts from the playoffs thanks to the chaos of this race. So that is a factor that the drivers are going to have to worry about. And of course we have the chase campaign to worry about as well, with drivers, I'm sure, in there thinking, this is a good chance to get a very high result early on to sort of put the authority down. Because it's days like this where those playoff drivers will need to be right on form. And the weather could do anything as well.
Oh, hello.
And speaking of which, it is tipping it down for qualifying. I didn't see that before it came out. You'll know that because you'll be watching the stream. So, yes, I must have manifested some different weather. Now, whether this stays for the race or not is a different question, but we know in the dry these guys tend to cause all sorts of chaos. On full wets in a qualifying session, could be even more so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back. Is this our first wet qualifying session, 1 of the season, and 2 ever at Canada?
I think, you see,
we had wet briefly, didn't we, somewhere else in qualifying?
I don't entirely recall, but I do know we had wet at some point. I'm sure it won't matter. These are certainly, I'm sure, the first time on full wets for qualifying. I don't recall we've been on these before. But we will see. Was it even Austria, actually? Was it Austria we had the rain? No, it wasn't. No, was it?
I can't remember.
I think it was actually. That was sort of out. Kieran is screaming, "It's thunder!" Which must mean we might be about to get some cheeky. I like to call them typhoon conditions, although technically it's monsoon. Although technically that means we're going to get some very, very, very difficult laps towards the end of qualifying as well. So the guys, mixed conditions in the race as well, Jack. Are you saying this? The drivers are giving us all the lovely, brilliant news we could ever want. Folks, you've got to stick around for this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I've just seen the GIF that Kieran sent in chat there. It says in 10 minutes time. I'm assuming this is qualifying.
Yes, I also assume that.
It goes from full wet to the monsoon conditions that you refer to.
That means we're going to see, possibly, these early laps be the laps to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. So we could get somebody. Of course, the first 10 drivers out are chase drivers, don't forget that. So massive for them this season. Corey, by the way, going out to qualifying ban, so this is an installation lap only.
Yep.
And also, I've got to mention it, because, you know, we have high standards here, don't we? But 17 drivers turning up to a Cup Series race, the lowest ever in 77 races. And we've never had, I don't think we've ever had 18 before. 19 was the lowest I can recall. But 17 is the new record. So poor from us.
Yeah.
But it's good for the guys that have turned up, because that's a couple extra points here and there.
Yes, that certainly is indeed. And we'll be seeing, of course, Corey, the reason for his qualifying ban was triggering the 4-car accident that took out himself, basically, from the run for the lead because of the penalty, and then took out... Who else did it take out, actually? I forget who it took out. I think, Jamie...
Jamie, Red
Matthew, and Kieran. Yeah. So it's those 3 that he took out, and that gave yet another... last to first victory for this man, Yuri, who, while he is the last person out, or the first person to actually set a lap out of the pits, and our ever-present reserve driver, he is a winner now this season, and he won both tiers last week, which is a first. And yeah, he's had quite the week for JACKOCAR, hasn't he?
Yeah, the Kia and Cup double, the JACKOCAR sweep. No driver has ever won both tiers in the same week. We've had a couple drivers win in both tiers. MK Bourne, one of them. Jamie Bromley, another. But Yuri's the first to do it in the same week. And this week, celebrating his 50th Cup Series start.
Yeah, so it's all happy days for Yuri, and there's a potential, let us say, that these could be the best conditions as well of the session, so we might well see him clocking a good performance.
Put it this way, Owen, he's never been on pole. His best ever qualifying in Cup is P2.
Now, I'm noticing that Casper has got the intermediates on in the pit. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to go out on them, but it is worth looking at for later in the session when it's his turn, as we watch Yuri gingerly going through the first couple of corners. Doesn't want to stick it in the wall. It's quite easy to do around here in the dry, so you can imagine in the wet just how easy it is. Along with, of course, the track limits being a tricky one to deal with, as he heads his way through the first sector and will clock in at 23.5, but it certainly doesn't look as fast as it could do. But do you know what? Sometimes slow and steady wins the race.
Absolutely, and whilst we wait for Yuri to complete his lap, it's worth noting no jokers as we go in. And the stage points are lap 9 and lap 17. But tentative so far from race-winning Yuri Hasliger. But of course, providing he keeps it valid, I do believe this will be one of the better laps of the session.
Yes, based on what we've seen, this is sort of, let's say, the best thing this is just set to get, but we never know. Sometimes it could be a little bit inaccurate, and we get it at slightly different times to what we expect. But anyway, here comes Yuri to the final corner. This should go P1 regardless, as long as he keeps it valid, which he has done. A little bit slippery on the exit, but he is going to get to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 21, just about 0.9, and that is the benchmark that Jake will be setting out to beat.
Yeah, of course, the first of two Jakes. Jake Warrior, still in his rookie season. What can he achieve in the chase? Of course, very much on his way to the playoffs in Kia on Tuesday nights. But potential is there, and of course on a wet night, you never quite know what can happen. So Jake will be looking for good points this evening. Oh,
look at the slide in there as he heads through the chicane. The chicanes are going to be another nightmare in mixed conditions as well later on in the race. So yeah, expect to see a lot of sort of moments like that for the drivers. And another one on the exit of the next chicane as well. This is a DRS straight in the race. There are 3 of them down here, and then the front straight and the back straight, but we'll have to wait and see how often they get used. Certainly won't be seeing them at all in qualifying. And as Jake heads through, we'll see what the aggression's like actually as he ride on board, especially for the last chicane, because that's where Yuri lost a little bit of time with the slide. And you can see Jake does still struggle with the traction anyway, even though at a hairpin. And it already looks like it's starting to get a little bit darker out there actually, so I'm wondering if we're going to get the sort of monsoon conditions even earlier than expected. Although mind you, we are 7 minutes into the session, aren't we? So, and you know, we're missing a lot of drivers. I say a lot of drivers, 3 drivers, but it means that we're not getting as many laps early on. As Jake comes up to the line, it will be a bit slower actually than Yuri's by a decent mark as well, 2.2 seconds. OKK is next up to go. And like I say, if the conditions are already starting to get bad, then, well, you can see how much he's struggling for the first few corners, but even if he just keeps this going, it might still be okay.
And it's got so dark so quickly, hasn't it? So this could very well be a pole position for Yuri. I'll see what the other drivers can do later on, because I did mention his current pole time. It was quite tentative, but we'll see. But it is looking good thus far, as OKK struggles through the second chicane. It's awful out there, isn't it, Owen?
Look how heavy the rain is. This is unbelievable stuff. I mean, it's the first we've seen this on this game, I think. We have seen conditions like this, I think, before in the JACKOCAR qualifying, if I recall, in Silverstone Short, I want to say. But it doesn't happen often. It really does not happen often. And, wow, look at the big lockup on the front right there for OKK. That's going to get him nowhere near the apex. Really struggling to hustle his car around. But if he can just get it across the line, it will be the 3rd time on the board, and it means he'll be starting at the very least 3rd on the grid if others start to have issues. As he comes through, braking very early for the last chicane, and cutting it a little bit on the inside, taking
well done.
full advantage there, but it will still be the slowest time, unfortunately. He will go third fastest down as a result of that. No, this is going to be interesting. Jake is a driver who's surely going to be getting a little bit of his form back. We know he's not really a driver that should be in these chase moments of the season, but this might help him in the long run when it comes to going for the Championship 5. Doesn't really matter how you get there, as long as you get there, and we'll see how he gets on.
Yeah, he missed out last season, didn't he, by just a bit of wing damage. That's what cost him. But very much the favourite, the people's pick to win the chase this season, Jake O'Sullivan.
Now, who's next up on our list then?
Late joiner Leroy's going to hit the wall here, keeps it valid.
It's a shame as well. I was about to say about how nice his livery's looking, but not when he's smashing up against the wall.
Leroy, post 6 PM change, that's why he's out so late. Of course, a reserve driver. His second start, in for risky tonight.
I know it's fine to say. I know we're looking at it in pieces, but it's a very nice livery. I'm looking forward to see it not in the wall. Let's say that much. But he is in the wall, so let's see Jamie, who's also rocking some new colours tonight, as you can see, as he heads through the end of the first sector. And these times are just simply nowhere near what Yuri was able to manage earlier on. So the conditions are just not good out there. And there's nothing these guys can really do about it. Yuri will be sitting there loving every second of this.
Of course he will. And I tell you what, so will Jake and OKK, and both Jakes, in fact. You know, it's brilliant for him, because this is only going to get worse. Yeah. Jamie Griffiths needs a valid lap here. He is, along with Jake and Pete, of course Pete not here this evening, second time ever, that those three are the favourites to advance from this chase system.
Look at this, Jamie just can't get out of that hairpin at all, can he?
Can't. He's someone who struggles as well on the starts. You know, he's a race winner. Don't forget, he can do it. It's just he needs to be up there really at the very beginning to show that, and it's invalid. Oh, exactly what you don't want to do, Jamie.
Yeah, that is absolutely not ideal. It would have been nowhere near the P1 time anyway. And NK Bourne's heading on the same path when it comes to his pace. They're at least a second off in the first sector alone when it comes to where Yuri is. I'm not entirely sure about the rest of the lap, but you can see MK Bourne just simply cannot slow it down. And you can see how hard the rain is pounding down on his car. It's no secret that it's incredibly heavy as he hits the wall. Not sure he's damaged the car, but he'll certainly have been damaging his pace as he crawls down the back straight. It's extraordinary that we've only actually seen one car properly stack it. As we see NK Bourne, I think he does have front-wing damage potentially actually as he heads through, because this is going to be by far the slowest time as he hits the wall again, and he's hitting every second of this lap as he goes 5.8 seconds off the pace. And it's no surprise to see that with how much he was struggling out there. He can't even keep it on the track on the way into the pits. How's Ben getting along? Ben Spurs. Again, same sort of pace that NK Bourne has in the middle sector, but much better through the hairpin. I'm expecting it would be much better on the exit as well. It's not really too difficult to be better than what NK Bourne was doing. He was in that wall on the right hand side. And is it getting a little bit brighter again, Jacko?
I think it is, which is a shame, because I was quite looking forward to seeing the really fast guys start from the back, but this could be massive for Iceman and Red Matt if the weather can just clear up enough to get them a half decent lap. It's still, Yuri's still like 2 seconds quicker than these guys, so we never know. Interesting place to stop for Ben Harrott.
Gareth, what a save as he heads through the last corner, embarking on a playoff campaign. And doing so with the 4th fastest time so far in the session. And lucky not to end up in the wall.
Gareth, a playoff driver as well, don't forget. What a great rookie season he's having. 2 podiums so far. As we move to SD Mats, Christian Hatara of Estonia. If the track dries up for him, it'd be excellent news, because he is lowest on points in playoff terms. He's the only playoff driver this season to not get a playoff point in the regular season. So he starts the postseason on 1,000.
Yeah, to put that into perspective, that is 36 points away from Ben Shaw, who was our regular season champion right up at the top. So it's a long way to climb to get to where he is. But then at the same time, it is only 11 points off Corey, who, as it stands, is 4th place, and that would get you into the Championship 5. So he just needs to keep as consistent as he was in the first part of the season, and he may well have a chance. As he heads through the last chicane now, SD Mats.
Nicely done.
Looks okay. I'm still not convinced it'll beat Yori's time, but it'll get close. Surely we'll see some more times come through that will actually start to beat this. Jordan may well be the first, because you can quite clearly see it's brightening up. The rain is still very heavy, but it's not anywhere near as heavy as it was. And Jordan,
he's a bit sideways for the penultimate corner there, but he recovers it.
It will cost him. He's going to end up only 3rd. That could have been P1, but instead he's going to have to settle for 3rd, and I think he'll continue to fall. A couple of guys are considering intermediates still, because you've got Kieran and you've got Red Matt thinking about it in the pit lane. As we watch Casper, he's also got some new colours on, hasn't he? He's got a little bit of the gold on there. But you can see how much he struggles. But look at the sector time at the end of this middle part of the lap. It's definitely
5 seconds quicker.
P1 pace as it stands. He just has to get it across the line. It should be probably still in the 21s as it stands. But if he can find a little bit more, possibly we'll see 20 soon. Because this is... I'd be surprised if inters are quick, though. I mean, just because it's not as heavy as it was before doesn't mean it's not still heavy rain. We just got to experience the tier above that for a little bit. But let's see. Very nice for the last chicane. This will definitely go P1. Surely this time.
Yeah.
There we go. Nearly a second clear. And these are the quick times coming through now. Kieran is the first to come out onto the intermediates. I'm looking forward to seeing that lap. But first we've got to see how Jamie gets on, the reigning champion, the 2-time champion, who's had his fair share of decent qualifying results, but we'll see how he handles these conditions.
Yeah. Put in the chat earlier that this Jamie and Kyle Smith, who has confirmed he won't be attending tonight, these two are coming into the postseason the lowest they have ever done in their JACKOCAR campaigns. So they've actually really got a scrap. You know, between them, they've only got the 1 win this season so far. But we all know Jamie loves the postseason, so he really has to shine. And of course, the most recent winner here last season.
Here he comes then, into the last chicane. All or nothing through here, really, and he's given it all, and he gets his reward at the exit. Will it be P1? I think it will, and it is, but this is going to be 3 laps on intermediates at the end of the session. Is the tyre ready to go? I'm sure they'll be looking at their deltas in the pits, and I'm sure they'll have done the calculations, which will say, yes, it is. But that's doesn't really count for anything until you do the lap. So here comes Kieran through the first corner. If he gets this right, it's a guaranteed top 3 start.
Yeah, no mistakes here, Kieran. And what a stroke of luck for the 3 fastest drivers throughout the first part of the season. Kieran, of course, still searching for that first win, but he has been on the cusp for quite some time now.
It's
Good
slow.
result here. It is slow. It could be a mistake.
I
see Iceman has committed to it. Red Mat was already out, but Iceman has committed as well now. So they need the sun to shine down just that little bit more.
It's not a million miles off, but it just isn't fastest, because as you can see, the rain is still pounding down, so I suppose you wouldn't expect it to be. And I think he's fallen even further off in the middle sector, so perhaps it isn't quite time that when the likes of Iceman start their laps, perhaps it'll be time then. I think that's Iceman directly behind Kieran, so he's not going to get massively different conditions, but even through the back straight, the rain is still looking a little bit lighter, so maybe it will just about pay off. But let's see where Kieran ends up first as he heads through the last chicane. Nice enough through there, but you can see where he is compared to Jamie. It's going to be nowhere near his time. He'll be a long way off. He's in P6. Red Mat's in the wall, so he's also not going to be going that quickly, surely, with lines like that. And in fact, he's way slower than Kieran is. And so, so I'm almost tempted to say he might have damaged his front wing, but we'll see.
I was going to say, is there wing damage? I've got a good view now. I don't know about you on the stream. It seems to be intact.
Yeah, it actually looks alright, to be fair. But look how light the rain is. I think this might work out for Iceman. It just doesn't work out for Red Mat and for Kieran, who will come for...
Red Mat on the wall.
Hey, I think that's him letting his frustration out there, to be honest. as he comes through. Could have beaten Kieran, didn't. But Iceman, well, look at how heavy the rain isn't now. He's liking this, but is he going to be able to get the pace?
49's a magic number, and he's 48.9. He's the only driver to be sub 49 this session. Some things just fall your way, just like his win in Portimao did earlier in the season. It's looking good for the young man from St Helens.
The gold on the back of his car to symbolise his regular season champion status. Will he be able to start the playoffs in top form as he comes through the last corner now? He should see that checkered flag, but will he see P1? It'll be close. Yes, he just about makes it stick by 1/10 of a second. Iceman on pole here in Canada. Brilliant stuff.
And he'll be loving that. Also, his gap of plus 36 now becomes plus 37. So he's got even less work to do in these next 2 races. In fact, if he finishes 13th, he advances to the round of 8. So that's a solid bit of work. First playoff point of the postseason. Ben Shaw on pole.
And so we now wait for him to return. Well, actually, we wait for Red Matt more like to return to the pit lane so that we can get this race underway. And he's, not a happy man, is Red Matt, by the looks of it. He's got a bit of work to do in the race, but like we say, there should be mixed conditions. So that will certainly present the opportunity to have some drama.
Yeah, and that, just to confirm as well very quickly, is Ben's 4th pole all time, and this season he equals Red Matt for the season, 4 poles.
Right then, the grid. Iceman, Jamie, Casper, Yuri, Estimat, Jordan, Kieran, Red Matt, Ben Spurs, and Jake. And then we have Gareth, OKK, Jake, Kajman, MK Bourne, Leroy, and then our quali band, Corey, and Jamie, who didn't get his time because he invalidated. The only one actually to invalidate out there, surprisingly, with all those chicanes.
Yeah. And one of those drivers who could have done without the invalidation, as we pointed out. Good qualifying in the end for Yori, first lap done. But of course, fell to the interconditions for the faster drivers at the very end there.
So, will it start dry? I guess you're saying this before I am.
If I am.
Oh, yes, you are. But look at that then. So it starts dry, but obviously it's a very, very, very sunny day. How quickly will this go sour? Unless the chat was lying to me, but I don't think it was.
I'm just trying to look through some stats here, Owen. Well, obviously no Kyle means the likes of Jordan and Christian, Gareth will all benefit from this. Jamie Wright, another one. If they finish well, then they'll be in a very good place. Let me get the points up. So yeah, Kyle Smith comes into this +6 above the cut line. And the 4 drivers that I mentioned, Jamie, Gareth, Jordan and Christian, all behind him. So if they could all finish in the top 10, Kyle will face elimination, so he'll be going into next week not needing a win, but needing very good points.
Okay, so we are underway for the formation lap, and there's a few yellow tyres right at the front of the grid. All of the top 4, in fact, have them. That's interesting. I wonder if ST Mats and Jordan will have a chance off the start then to get a couple of positions.
Christian now in P5, equaling his best ever qualifying in the league. Yuri not quite matching it. Iceman certainly matching his best ever. And who else have we got here? Cracking lap from Ben Harrett as well, down in P9. Kieran and Red Matt with work to do, 7th and 8th. Gareth, I think, will be slightly disappointed. Of course, can't help the weather ever, can you?
Indeed.
But he'll be looking to at least outscore Kyle, get yourself on the board. And I am aware that Jordan has some controller issues, so he may not make it to the end of this race. But sensible driver, so he will get out of the way if he has to. But he starts P6.
Right, I want to have a quick look at a Leroy's livery now that it isn't smashed up. Because I follow it quite nice in the rain, but we never really got a chance to appreciate it as he heads through. Give us a little look. Yes, very nice indeed. Very, very nice. Right, there's that done. We can hype the race up now. Also, Gareth, I wanted to point out, because he has changed his colours a little bit as well. Well, I say he's changed his colours. He actually got the same colours as before. As we actually lose Jake just before the start of this race, he probably won't be able to get back in time to start. Hope it doesn't cause any issues, because it tends to be, if you try and rejoin the session now, you're like stuck in spectator mode and you can't actually drive. So that might actually be Jake out of the race. There's no ghosting in this league, remember? So the other guys have got to drive around him.
As it should be as well, you know. Although I must admit, in One Hub on Friday, I could have done with a bit more ghosting. The ghosting, obviously, in One Hub is on, but it didn't work for the spinner at turn 1, so I drove up from the back to 6th and then wrecked. But JACKOCAR very much ghosting off, and it has been for the last 76 races. This is number 77, and the beginning of the Season 5 playoffs. Owen Wyatt, it's that time again.
It is indeed. We've got 5 lights in Canada. Boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing. It looks like a really good start from Casper, but is he going to be able to get through all the way into the lead of the race? He's got to fight with Iceman, he's got to fight with Jamie, and they're all going to go through 3 wide as they head through. It does look like Jamie, the winner here last season, has taken the advantage straight away at the start. A really poor getaway then from Iceman has put him in that position, and looks like Jordan's already starting to fall down, so I wonder if he has got issues. What a start from Kieran, up into 4th place as well, getting by those guys on the softs. We have a few yellow flags, a few incidents going on. MK Bourne's just recovering from a spin, and they're all trying to get round Jake at the moment too. But it seems everyone's okay. Ben has a penalty as well, I'm not entirely sure what for. But it's 5 guys on the mediums then who lead away at the start here. I wonder if Rusty Mats is going to try and get involved with them.
Yeah, I think he had a poor start, but it's good to see J. Luke and Casper picking up where they left off from last week, battling for the lead. Of course, it was Casper that come out on top. Was that race?
Which one?
It was. I'm thinking of the race before that, aren't I? Ignore me, Owen. As we come to the end of lap 1, any early takers on pit stops? Yes, there is one.
Esty Mats.
Interesting. Maybe soft to medium. Jake joins him in the pit lane, but J. Luke leads lap 1 here in Canada.
Well, if we're due to get mixed conditions, it might not be the worst idea in the world actually to get a pit stop out of the way now and then drive to the rain if it's coming. But looking at the weather, it's very unlikely, but we can see it change. I mean, the chat wouldn't lie to us, right?
Well,
they would actually.
I'm not going to say anything.
They could be lying to us, to be honest. But well, we'll wait and see. We've got a fight for the lead to look at, because Casper's, he's not letting Jamie go here, is he? He's certainly putting him under a lot of pressure in these early stages. And he had a really good launch off the line, like I said, he had a real chance of actually taking the lead flat out into turn 1, but decided against it, took the more sort of patient option, and is now going to try and pressure the champion into losing time. Corey, by the way, has gone from right at the back, 16th, all the way up to 8th already. So he's going to be giving it some. He'll be wanting to get right back to where he left off last week before the incident. And we have Gareth trying to fight back against him. Will he be able to go through? It's doubtful, thanks to the tyre difference, as Ben goes into the pit lane. He'll probably take a penalty as well in there. I think he does have possibly a 5-second penalty. I'd be surprised if he's got one for warnings that early. I'll just have a quick look. Oh no, it is a 3-second penalty. Okay, interesting. I'm surprised he's managed that in half a lap.
Yeah, impressive stuff. It is also worth noting noting something else actually. Kieran with a cracking start up to P4 from 7th. Really, really good start for Kieran, doing exactly what he needs to, as the 4 front runners all look to make their lives easy early on in the playoffs. These guys, I'm not going to say too much, but these guys don't have too much to worry about in this opening playoff round, which is Canada where we are now and Monza next week. Behind that, Red Matt needs to get a move on, get past Yori, but then it's the real battle. You know, the lower end guys is where we're interested in.
Here comes Casper then. He'll take the lead with this one. pretty easy on the DRS because, well, there's nothing really stopping them going through right now. I don't think they're fighting for the pit lane. Perhaps guys on Sauce are still thinking about it, but no. In fact, we see Redmac blasting past Yuri, so 5 of the soft runners are still staying out there to make that actually 4, because OKK has pitted as well. But
Matt needed that as well, didn't he, to get past Yuri early doors and try and fight these guys up front.
Yeah,
but again, he's one of the guys that's pretty much safe until the last playoff round.
Yeah, he's pretty comfortable right now, but I think, I suppose what Casper's doing here, which is very important, is he's going to be getting playoff points. Surely, because look at how slow Jamie is at the moment. He's just unable to hold onto the back. Without the DRS, I think Casper will be gone. So he'll get at least one of the playoff points. These medium tires could possibly take him to both. But then we have to think about what the strategy will end up being later on. But that's just something worth thinking about.
Yeah. Stage points are lap 9 and 17. It's also worth noting that now we're in the postseason, you do not get the playoff points for a win. However, in return, you do get them for advancing to the next round. So you don't get them, you advance to the next round in return of no playoff points. Same goes for chase drivers. Even if they were to win, they don't get playoff points.
I think Iceman's
get.
It's a very good exit. Sorry, Jack, I didn't want to interrupt there, but
That's
I think
right.
he might be
That's
going
right.
for it on the inside in towards turn 1. He's got Jamie taking the wide line, left him plenty of room to be fair, but now Kieran's on his way past, but he has a big slide as well. And the overtaking proving not as easy as it would have been into turn 1, or at least what they would have expected, and they actually stayed the way they were.
That was actually very clever from Iceman there. He teased Jamie into a mistake into turn 1, but didn't quite get the exit. Jamie comes back across the defender's position and through he goes, retains P2. Gave Kieran a sniff on the exit at 2. But as you say, they retain positions as Jake picks up a penalty.
Jake, who currently, unfortunately for him, sits down in 13th place, so it seems his luck is still not really improving from what we saw earlier on in the season. He also has a penalty. Of course, the pit stops will actually have him the second highest of the pit stops, won't they, actually? And he's fighting to be the top of the pit stops, so perhaps his luck may improve later on, in fairness. As we see, Iceman, again, closing on Jamie, but Jamie, since he has the DRS on Casper, is a pretty good safety net, and it looks like Casper had a really bad run for the last corner, and Jamie wants to take the lead of this race back once again as he goes side by side down in towards turn 1, and it's a pretty simple move once again to get through. Didn't do anything silly, and it is Jamie, the race leader, once again.
Great respect between these 4. They're actually dropping. No, they're not. So I didn't even see Red Matt's just pitted. I was about to say they were dropping Red Matt as he exits the pits. But yeah, good racing between these 4. Kieran being very sensible as well, sitting back there, waiting for that opportunity. Gutted about last week, of course. Could have won that race. Didn't quite fall his way with the Corey Kazi from behind. But any of these 4, all 4 of them looking good at the moment.
Well, the good news for these 4 is that they all have DRS to play with, so that should help them pull away from Corey a decent amount. And was Jamie almost trying to slow down there, trying to promote a pass before the hairpin so he could nick DRS? That might not help him because he'll have an onslaught of 3 cars coming at him, and you can see he's already moved to the left hand side of the track. Casper will take in tow, of course, and can Iceman try and get through as well as Casper retakes the lead once again. He's got an acute angle though into the last corner, and while he will have DRS on the exit, Jamie may well have the better sort of run, but he just survives. And here comes Iceman. He's gonna go a lot deeper on the brakes this time. More respect given between these 2. It's good to see. And we see Iceman going for the wide line on the exit. Kieran won't be able to fight there because it's too risky really to go for this early in the race. And yeah, the fantastic fighting continues as Corey picks up a penalty, which is gonna make his job a little bit harder, considering he can't patch these guys at the moment as it is, even though he's on the quicker tyre. And look at that big slide.
Jamie has a snap there, you
and
called it.
surely Iceman's going to pass him now because they risk losing DRS, but they also risk it and they go side by side into here, which they are doing, and they're going to make contact. Kieran's had to cut the corner, but he's going to get the exit anyway, and he's going to get himself past and into the podium positions. And this is a massive lifeline if you're Casper, because here comes Jamie again up the inside. Brilliant racing once again. Side by side, they're both going to get the run on Iceman, because Iceman, I don't think he's going to be picking up any DRS on this lap. And it'll mean he's in a lot of trouble when he heads down probably to turn 1. And Kieran, he'd be mad to go for a move into the last corner. Way too risky. But as he comes through, it's a poor exit. That might keep Iceman in the game. In fact, he's had a really good last run through the corner. Has Jake, or has Casper, sorry, actually sort of slowed down there, I wonder, again with a tactics to try and just sort of give himself the DRS on lap 9 to get himself back past Iceman. Watch out for that. We might see a few games with that because these points are so important and they know they can race very easily around here. So watch out for Casper letting Iceman go on this lap and then getting back past on the next lap. That could be the game plan here.
Yeah, and Casper, speaking of points, just picked up that stage win there. And that is... Oh, where is the stat that I have for you normally ready? That is his 4th stage point of the season.
I tell you what.
But go on.
Just to back that up, you can see how much Corey's caught these guys while they've been all playing games, and I imagine there's going to be absolutely no defence whatsoever here from Casper when Iceman goes for it. It's about where Iceman decides to do it, though. Will he do it now in the last corner? Will he do it into turn 1? He will do it into turn 1.
Turn 1, yeah.
And again, oh, look how poor Casper is through the last corner. He might get mugged here by a couple of cars, as we see Jake's had some sort of incident, and Iceman will retake the lead, which I'm sure is actually perfectly fine if you're a Casper, because as long as he can get himself back past in the last corner, or just in the back straight in general, on this lap, it'll be happy days. But it's when you try and pull tactics like this, you make a little mistake, it could backfire. We could see accidents happen. We saw it happen last week. We could almost just see Iceman pull away. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, of course it is also worth noting if the 4 of them decided to work together, they could quite easily pull away from the rest of the field. But right now, Corey with 6 seconds of penalties, they are the class of the field.
This is fantastic from these 4, isn't it?
Yeah, I tell you, I don't believe what I get told during the week. I get told a lot, by the way. But Jamie Wright and Casper both tell me, oh, I hate Canada, rubbish track, awful. Don't forget, Jamie won this last season. He almost won it in season 3 if it wasn't for a penalty. And Casper, he said he wasn't very good at another track, and then he went on to win it earlier in the season.
Look at Iceman
so yeah,
waving.
Don't believe a word, but the 4 of them putting on a show here.
Yeah, and Iceman's done very well to build the gap, and Jake, or Casper, I keep getting their names mixed up, but he keeps understeering almost into the last corner, so Iceman's held on to his lead and will take the first stage point of the day, as you see the last 2 soft runners into the pits. I assume that'll be everyone on mediums now. You can see the clouds starting to gather around the track. Like I say, we're expecting mixed conditions. The first signs of them arriving certainly in sight now on lap 10. What a first 10 laps it's been. Jamie, I think, has just fallen outside DRS, unfortunately for him. Casper has also got a penalty, you will see. That might give Kieran some encouragement to try and get himself up the road, get his first win. If he can,
and,
maybe he'll try something on the pit stops. We'll see.
Thank you as well for the correction. The lap 9 stage point, it did go to Iceman. I thought it was lap 7, didn't I? I gave it to Casper prematurely, but it's actually the first stage point of the season for Ben. So again, increasing his total. So far, he's swept all the playoff points available in this season's playoffs.
Yeah,
and he needs another 3 points, and he's on his way.
Having a great day, isn't he, already? As we see Casper closing in again. It's not the best last chicane. He really struggles through there. He seems to not be confident enough to properly send it like the rest of them really are. Doesn't lose him a massive amount of speed, but if he needs a clutch move later on in the race, that could be where he might lose out. So watch out for that in the later sort of parts of the race. Now, just to make it clear, for those who aren't paying attention really, we've got a massive fight happening for PA, and the reason these guys are fighting so hard is because, well, they're all messing about in the... Look at this, it's utter chaos.
I'm seeing it.
Ah, Corey. Well, anyway, all this is happening because these guys are trying to get up to where Jake is, and that is the highest runner to have made his first mandatory stop. And, well, he'll be enjoying all that fighting going on behind him, I'm sure, because Red Matt, he wants to be up there, and oh, wow, into the wall goes NK Bourne. All this fighting then, it's, yeah, creating a bit of chaos. Oh, that could be a safety car with that front wing everywhere, you know.
Could well be.
We'll keep our eye on that. Yep.
It is. So this falls into the hands of Jake and Red Matt now.
Indeed It does indeed. That's what I'm saying. That's why they want to
What
be
a
up there, because in the case of a safety car, this is exactly what they need. It's exactly what the top six were dreading, I'm guessing. And you can see the clouds are starting to cover the track. So if the rain comes soon, they're going to have to make two sort of quick fire pit stops. But I assume as well, if it rains, you'll probably get more safety cars anyway. Yuri's decided to take a non-mandatory. Interesting tactic there. We'll see how that works for him.
Corey.
Corey has a broken front wing, of course, but look how quickly the track's clouding over. Is there a possibility of it actually starting to rain during the safety car? Look at how cloudy it's got. We saw how quickly the conditions changed in qualifying. Look at it. It was a sunny day 2 minutes ago.
It's a great shame though about this safety car, isn't it? Ruined a good battle there up the front. But yeah, no, I looked down to record the non-mandatory stops there, of which we have 3 of them: Yuri, Corey, and MK Bourne. And I look up and the skies are grey. It's very interesting how that's occurred, but how quickly as well.
Yeah.
By the way, Kieran has picked up a penalty. I don't know if we picked up on that.
I hadn't quite picked up on it, no, but good spot. Yes, actually, we'll let everyone know what all the penalties are. It's 3 seconds for Casper and for Kieran, and for Leroy. All the other penalties are 6 seconds. Quite a lot of them out there, actually, at the moment. Not really a massive surprise, I suppose, around here. I'd be very surprised if anyone in this top 5 even thinks about a pit stop. I suppose you just sort of got to live with it. There's always the opportunity. There's always a potential as well. Just want to quickly get one more point in. If it rains now, there's nothing saying it can't stop. But yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. So they could still get 2 mandatories done, just thanks to the mixed conditions being well mixed. But we gotta see it start raining first. Let's not get too overexcited.
Yeah, if you're one of those top 5 drivers, there is absolutely no point. You may as well wait. You're going to be able to cool your tyres down under the safety car period, so they'll last a little bit longer, and then just wait for the rain. But the quality that those, especially the top 4, have been driving at, you'd like to think they'd be able to carry that over in the rain, maybe, and be able to pull away, get that gap back that they had. I mean, I didn't see the gap before the safety car, but they were, like I said, in a class of their own up front. So I don't think it's over, but it is very good news for Jake O'Sullivan now up in P6. Can he get his first race win? We've been tipping Kieran for weeks to do it, but Jake was on the cusp of doing it last season. It never quite happened, but now he's adjusted to his new will and found his form and started scoring points again. He's been looking very good, leading a few laps in the last couple of races. So you never quite know.
Sun's come back out again.
Yeah, I see that. What a game.
I know.
Can't wait for next game.
No, we're not quite going to get the safety car in this lap, even though we probably could have done. So we'll have to go one more. But we should go green again for lap 15, and that will mean that we get DRS on lap 17, which would be the next stage point. So that could be quite exciting. So we'll keep our eye on that as we see Corey into the pits again. This I will be assuming is for front wing that he may have broken, and for some softs. So watch out for him on this restart.
I wonder if he was just... Oh no, he did get wing damage, didn't he?
Yeah. Not too sure how, but he's managed it.
We have seen it before where drivers will take a non-mandatory just to get rid of a certain tyre compound to then go back on to a preferred choice. But that was an actual wing change. Again, 2 in a row there. Obviously the first one coming from contact with MK Bourne. But yeah, no explanation for that one, Owen. That's his second non-mandatory stop of the day. That's 4 for the race. And I think, if you give me 1 second, I think you'll find that is 91 for the season.
It's quite remarkable to have that many, isn't it?
It really is. Then again, I wasn't really sure what sort of numbers we were expecting, but allowing the non-mandatory stops has really changed the game, hasn't it?
And here we go, safety car in this lap, and yeah, definitely the non-mandatories have made a difference. And I wonder what this will do, let's say, for the guys who haven't made their first stops yet, these top 5. who are now going to be out here to fight. Remember, in fact, even with Jake, he made his pit stop on lap 1. So he's not exactly on the very great tyres. I suppose Red Mat would be your favourite if we were to keep the race going like this. I mean, I have no idea what the weather's going to do, because it's going back and forth between blue skies, grey clouds. I mean, there's a mix of both, really, of a blue sky and grey clouds. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Of course, remember the restart procedure, 2 grid slots away from the start-finish line. It's a pretty easy one to get right, this one. I think most of them are, in fairness, once you know the rule.
The man leading is the man who makes the lines every week as well, so he's got to get it right.
Yes.
It's the same rule wherever we go, but this is someone who has to get it right. Owen Wyatt.
And he's away, and the Casper's had a pretty decent launch though as well. Is he going to launch one into turn 1? No. And Kieran, he will possibly take advantage of this as they head side by side. Jamie and Gareth look like they're fine as well as Redmat and Jake and Ben and Jamie. A lot of stuff happening in the midfield, but Iceman has held on to his advantage. He was under a little bit of pressure into turn 1, but decided... Casper decided not to go for it as they all head through to the end of the first sector. A few side-by-side moments still. No major pile-ups unlike last season at that corner on safety car restarts. I see Jamie and Yuri fighting side-by-side. Yuri on the fresher, faster, soft. He's hit the wall, He may well have brought his front weight on the way in there. Got to be careful not to lose it on the exit as well. And we have Red Matt now going side by side with Gareth and taking it himself up into the top 5. And he can now try and challenge Jamie for P4. And surely we'll see some sort of fight for the lead between these guys. Unless, of course, they're all going to pit these top 4. Let's see. Are they going to beeline it for the pits? Yes, they are. All of them apart from Kieran and Jamie. Okay. Gareth as well is in. So are we going to see... Kieran and Jamie just fight for this playoff point, or will Red Matt try and snatch it off them because he's got the better tyres? This will be quite an exciting end to the second stage.
Would as well. Iceman, very quickly, by the way, with the 7 laps he's just led, he's doubled his total for the season. But Kieran, what will he do? Will he stay out and claim that stage point? It may not seem like a lot. It's only 1 point, but that 1 point is the difference sometimes, and we have seen it before. So what can he do? He's got the gap to Jamie behind. I personally reckon it's worth staying out for this one, Owen.
Yeah, you've got really nothing to lose, have you, as long as you stay in the lead. Unless you get some sort of a safety car or anything like that, but then at least you get the point. So,
and
we'll see.
Especially now, everybody else other than Jamie behind has made their first mandatory stop. So, like, your race in that respect is ruined, so you never know as well. You might crash later on. It is, on this occasion, I would say, worth staying out for Kieran. What will he do? He does stay out, so he's going to do 1 more lap. And
looks like Jamie's decided that he's not going to be able to catch him, so he's into the pits. DRS enabled, and that might excite Jamie. Oh, MK Bourne smashed into the wall on the wall of Champion Chicane. Anyone going to run into him? We have another safety car. And you can see MK Bourne facing backwards. He's done the rear right in. Just saw that in the background of the shot. I was about to say Jamie, Ben and Corey were about to enjoy a good fight. Jamie got the position just about as that was coming out. But Red Matt then, he'll be liking this because, okay, hasn't got a chance to overtake Kieran. But now when Kieran does pit, he'll be so far away. And just to confirm on the pit stops, he is still the highest to have made the 1 stop. OKK, was his both mandatory? Do we know? Oh, he's got a broken front wing. Doesn't matter. He's lost. Well, actually, maybe well. Can we have a look? If he has made a second mandatory stop, even changing the front wing now wouldn't ruin his day.
I'll get back to you, Owen. Hold the line.
Righty ho. Kieran then. I assume he'll stay out and just scoop up the point.
Okay. Where's J-Luke?
I think they're both mandatory. Jamie's just in front, but I think OKK's are both mandatory that he's done so far. So I think he would be the highest to have completed his mandatory stops. Of course, he will have to pit. So,
J-Luke was in on time as the safety car come out. That's fine. As was Yuri. Anybody after Yuri, it did not count.
So
OKK's making another stop here.
Yeah, so this is his third stop. Like I say, I believe he's already finished his mandatories, so he's got to put a set of softs on again suggests to me that mixed conditions are on their way. But at the very least, he knows now, no matter what happens, his pit stops are sorted, they're out of the way. He can forget about them.
Casper in as well.
Interesting. He wants some softs there. Obviously, they're Jeff's. Rest in peace, Jeff, by the way. We'll be telling them about the weather and what's happening. So they'll have some sort of idea. Kieran might find himself in a position where he can make his first stop in green flag, force some fresh softs, and then quickly go for inters or something later on. So even though he's actually sitting in the lead, it may not be the end of the world, actually. It's mad saying it's always in the lead. What a disaster! But you know, he might not lose. He might not lose out so much, but he probably will lose it a little bit. But
to confirm, he did get that second stage point as well, lap 17.
Yeah. And now we're doing the endless, it feels like, wait for the safety car to do all its safety car things and get itself into the pit lane again. Probably at the end of the next lap, I'm guessing. And I always find it funny when the same driver manages to cause two separate safety cars in the same race. But okay, but MK Bourne, you've managed it, so well done. Always a fun one, that.
Confirmation again that J. Luke and Yori pit right on, but before the safety car was announced. So they are clear. But it's anyone else after that. No one else has pitted this lap, have they?
I don't think so. I wonder why SD Max is so slow, though. Has he picked up a puncture? Yes, he has. His rear right is down. That might keep the safety car another lap. He's just got to make sure it doesn't end up in the wall. Otherwise, that would, well, take him out of the race, wouldn't it? But, yeah, that might well keep that safety car out. I hope he doesn't go in without him, because it's not really his fault he's picked up the puncture, most likely. He's done well to actually get that back. But he is in. Look how slow he has to go. It's unbelievable, isn't it? He's crawling down the pit lane. He'll get lapped. I have no idea how that's happened. The safety car's in this lap. Oh, SD Mats. He'll be begging then for another safety car. Because he's going to have no chance to catch up on this.
Confirmation of non-mandatory stops during this safety car period. SD Mats, Leroy, OKK and Casper. So that confirms what you were saying, Owen, that OKK on his free stops has now completed strategy.
Yeah, so he may be a factor later on. Just look out for him. He hasn't got any penalties. That's quite the premium out here, as you can see, with so many whiff penalties. Of course, getting involved in an accident could ruin that, and that happens quite a lot when you're at the back and at the front, actually, here. So, Kieran, you might want to be looking in the mirrors, because Red Mat will be coming for you. And let's see if he gets his restart sorted. It's not the longest run towards turn 1. It should be pretty easy to hold on to your lead as long as you get everything right. And we'll keep our eye on it as we prepare to restart the Canadian Grand Prix once again. And Kieran is away. Now, is Red Mat going to go for it into turn 1? Yes, he is. He's going to hit him as well. He's going to spin off, and that's yeah, the risk he took. And you could kind of see that coming. And now, look at that. Look who's up into second position now. It's Jamie. Look at that. He was the only guy who invalidated his qualifying lap. We've seen back-to-back last to first before in JACKOCAR. I believe he'd be on for another one today if we see him get this to the line, because Kieran will pit and he will be the race leader. But look at Jamie, the other one, on the sauce with no penalties going through, and Corey's lost a lot of ground. There's a lot of fighting in the midfield. Whatever's going on there is causing all sorts of chaos, and they've all just got to be careful to try and get through it. A very difficult situation, this restart. Ben up there in 5th place, rather holding up that train of cars, and Yori tries to get through on the inside. Is he going to make any contact? He does make a little bit, and Casper's trying to get his way through all this as well.
And how Jamie Wright, both Jamies, but Jamie Wright especially, he's managed to work his way back up to P3 despite that awfully timed safety car that we had. But Jamie Griffiths is there for position. Yeah,
P1 and P2, the two Jamies. Yeah. As we keep going.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron. Jamie Griffiths, his one stop is mandatory, so he's on his way.
yellows, and it is Jake who's out of the race. Now, where's he ended up? Must be just in the pit lane retiring, isn't it? Because I don't see his car actually on track at the wall, so that shouldn't bring any sort of safety cars or anything like that out. Okay, now up to 11. Let's say you got to keep your eye on him, because of all these pit stops, he would be the one to take the main advantage, right? As we see the Jamie swapping position. Not really a massive surprise. I suppose there's not much for Jamie on mediums to fight with here. Doesn't want to get himself into any sort of silly accidents. I suppose he's more interested in keeping Jake behind. But Jay Luke, the driver who won this race last season, he actually does have a lot of work to do though to win it this time. So we'll see how this all works when the next pit stops come round.
For your information, viewers at home, the lead driver with a completed strategy is OKK down in P11. Ben Harrett is the only other driver who's done both stops under a mandatory rules, I guess. Gareth makes his second stop actually, as does Jordan. Both of these will be mandatory, and that'll be completed stops as well.
So I think Jamie Griffith is going to fall out of the DRS range here. Jamie Wright, possibly. Although he's done quite well actually in the first sector. He will actually stay in. And that might just help him defend a little bit from Jake, because Jake has got the pressure from behind with Casper, who will be very eager to get himself through, and indeed he has done very quickly indeed. And keeps it all on the track for the chicane. Almost lost it, but kept it in the right way. Good stuff. And looks like Jake actually fancies coming back in, but I don't think he'd be doing that, not on those mediums. Corey, he's been in the wars today, but here he is back up in 5th place. You just can't get rid of him. And he'll be the next one to go past Jake, assuming he doesn't end up hitting him or anything. He's very low on ERS, so he may not actually be able to get the run here. And he doesn't, as Jake goes into the pits. Casper now will be passing Jamie. That'll be a pretty simple move, I'd imagine, to get himself up into P2 with the fastest lap for good measure.
Why not? Of course, another playoff point available for fastest lap. As Kieran steals it from him. How long will that stand for? Or are we going to get rain? And that will be it for fastest lap. As we look at 12 to go.
It doesn't look all that likely for rain, but then you see all these guys are sat on sauce with 13 to go, and you think, maybe it is. So I don't know.
And you told me they wouldn't lie to us in chat.
Yeah, I did. I've still got faith in them. We saw how quickly it got dull when it did under the safety car earlier. Who says when it happens next time won't be just to start tipping it down. Now, just seeing with how OKK is getting on, he is still up there, 8th place, doing everything right at the moment. Even if he gets overtaken by the likes of Redmat. Redmat's on just such old tyres right now. He's going to have to probably pit soon. As Corey, will he get himself running outside of Jamie? That's a easy enough move, actually. Thought he would make it a bit more difficult, Jamie, but I suppose he just doesn't want to end up in some sort of incident. And look at this then, Jamie and Casper going for the lead. We know that Casper's a quicker driver today, so we will see if he can make a move work, and then obviously he's got the penalty to try and deal with as well. But for now, the chance is definitely there for Casper to retake the lead, with Corey nowhere near the DRS, and we know that even with the quicker tyres earlier on, Corey wasn't able to keep up with those two.
Just keeping an eye on Gareth here. He is going to beat Iceman out. Both of those now on completed strategies. Jordan already out of turn 2. And we get yellow flags.
Yes, I think Yuri's got a front right puncture. He's got to be careful not to hit the wall with that. Luckily it's on the front rather than the rear. If you get a rear puncture, you're really in trouble at these speeds, but you should be alright. And here comes Casper once again, coming through to take the lead. We've seen that before today on the DRS, and he is ahead of Jamie Wright. It's taken a while to get back up there, but he is into the race lead again. Corey makes another pit stop.
And that Corey will be for completion of his strategy now as well. And so KK moves up to 6th, but we'll say no more.
Of course, the problem is, again, that these tyres, well, they probably won't make it to the end. That's the
That's
only
a
thing that
shame, isn't it?
OKK's got to
Yeah.
worry about. But who knows? Maybe they can. We'll see if he can stretch them. I'm sure he'll give it a go if the rain doesn't come, which again it's like an increasingly likely that it won't, isn't it?
What he needs is the 5 drivers in front to pit, and then for the rain to come. That would give him the race lead. Technically, as it stands, if tyre degradation wasn't a thing, is that the right word? It is now. OKK is net race leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take credit for this, just in case he does actually end up like winning this thing.
Okay, you're welcome to take credit.
For once, I've noticed something. Yippee!
Well done.
Yes.
I had to confirm it though. I had to check the non-mandatories, and he was fine. He was cleared of any wrongdoing. J-Luke makes his second stop.
And this will be for more softs. And he'll take these ones to the finish, I would imagine.
Yeah, from there he will.
And OKK, let's see how far ahead he is. He's a good couple of corners, isn't he? Because Jamie hasn't even got to the pit lane exit, so it's going to be about 5 seconds, I'd say. I can probably be caught up.
Yeah, I was just about to say you would back Jamie to get the job done on OKK here. So the important one now really is Casper and his second mandatory stop.
You see, he's
and
quicker,
when
isn't
will
he?
he do it?
He's quicker than Jamie is, so that will
But
be...
he has that penalty.
Yeah, that's the thing. The penalty will make it difficult, but at least he has the extra pace. But Jamie with the undercut might end up getting back into either DRS range or just flat out ahead of Casper, because Casper's got no sort of ERS here to use either. So we'll have to... Well, he's going to stay out, okay. Commits to staying out. Interesting. Didn't expect that. And we've still got Kieran out there, by the way. Kieran's been making his way back up. He is now getting his way past Jamie and up into the top 3 again. So he's doing well.
Leroy's enjoying himself up in P2, isn't he? He's still got 1 stop to go. Great day out for the reserve driver.
And look at this
Kieran
speed.
all over the back of him now. So much faster, isn't he?
But where does he make the move? Not there.
Yeah, Leroy, by the way, since we last had him in Cup Series, he has become a winner in the Kia Series. On his way to the playoffs down there on a Tuesday night. And putting in a decent effort, decent display this evening. 27 laps in. 8 to go next time around. Casper continues to lead as he comes out of the hairpin.
Jamie's halved the gap and more in just a lap and a half. So OKK will be pretty easy meat, and I think Casper, if he were to pit now, would lose out so much. So is he going to now try and just go to the ends? That's a very interesting strategy. It would work a bit better if he didn't have a penalty. But I'm sure he'll still try, as Kieran has moved up into second place in front of Leroy.
OKK won't resist this either.
No.
He will just let Jamie slide right on through. This will be bread and butter for the man from Barnsley.
OKK right now sits in a very nice position for the chase, as long as he doesn't get involved in any sort of accidents. So it would be in his best interest just to keep his nose clean and maybe pick up a podium or something.
Yeah, I agree. And where will he let him through? Because he will let him through. There won't be any battle here. It'll be straightforward. He'll
probably let it happen here, so that he can get the next 2 DRS zones, just to sort of help his pace a little bit. And there he goes. So easy as that.
Gotta stay off the grass, though. He was too kind to Jamie, if anything. But that is job done. So Jamie now... Oh, I don't like Canada, but he is a playoff merchant. Is he going to win the first playoff race of Season 5? His first win of the season, and a win that would take him 2 clear on the all-time wins list. It would put him on 14.
Well,
no, it wouldn't. It would put him on 13.
Look at this. Corey's run out of ERS again, and he's colliding with OKK. He'll be very late on the brakes, and he does just about get through. And OKK's really struggling for grip on these tyres. But can Corey chase down Jamie here? And unfortunately, he's got a penalty, which sort of wrecks it a little bit. And how many has he got? He's got 2 penalties. Oh, that really ruins it.
Yeah.
So perhaps he can't win it then. But he's certainly at least got his nose in there.
I don't see why Jamie would fight this either. If Corey gets right behind him, he'll know he's got 6 seconds.
So
6 seconds that can't be removed as well.
Has Casper actually made... He hasn't made both mandatories, has he?
No.
So
he pitted under the first safety car,
so
only one of those is mandatory.
I'll ask the question again. Skies are starting to dull a bit. So is he actually going to wait for rain? Is it going to be a bit almost like...
It's very late in the day, isn't it?
It is. It's very late in the day, but we saw how quickly it changed, and you can see it physically for yourself, what's happening while we ride on board with a race leader. You can see it for yourself. Just how quickly the track's changing once again. There could be rain falling by the end of this lap at this rate.
Casper with 13 previous race starts and 3 of those as victories. He knows the rules, so he will know he has to make another stop.
Look at it.
So maybe Owen, he is playing his cards, but is he playing them right?
Well, he's got to make sure the tyres last, because 12 laps, that's not good for these softs, trust me. I mean, you saw how much OKK has been, and is continuing to struggle on them.
Of course, behind OKK now is Jake, and as much as they are teammates and friends in real life... Oh, never mind, there's another penalty for Jake. Curse at the commentator. But OKK
raining,
still needs
it's
to keep him
raining,
behind.
so
it is raining.
Is
wow.
Very quickly changing conditions, and that isn't late in the day. That'll be easily onto inters, assuming you don't start making mistakes. This is where you seriously risk a safety car, and if a safety car comes out right now, you are in great, big, huge, massive trouble.
If a safety car comes out right now, you back J-Luke to win it. Casper pits.
Yes. Wow. So he thinks it'll be entered by the end of the lap, and do you know what? I can see why, because you can see the track is starting to get soaked. Kieran's in as well. I think they might be right here. They might be right here. Leroy's in as well. Jamie, he's spinning to the pit lane. And look at Corey losing it. Look at it. The track is soaked. It is completely soaked. And Jamie, J-Luke is out there still. And look at it. It's straight away. DRS has been disabled. Anyone who's still out there, the race leader has made a massive error by staying out, as it turns out. And Casper comes out into the lead of this race once again. He's going to blast past these two, unless of course they crash off, which is what Corey's doing, and he's hit the wall. He's got to be careful for the other guys coming through, and we could so easily see a safety car for these guys, isn't it? Look at Jamie, he's crawling round. He's absolutely had this race taken from him by the weather. And this could get worse. I wonder if we'll end up needing full wet soon if the rain gets any heavier, because that's how quick it became inters. Not even a lap ago the rain started, and look how heavy it is.
I've never seen it fall that quickly and change conditions so quickly. But Casper, we were talking about, has he played his cards right? The answer is yes. He's covered himself up lovely with 5 to go, and he's going to see himself through, barring no mistakes, of course, to the round of 8. What an absolute dreamy drive, a dreamy start to the playoffs for that man from Finland as Kieran moves up into P2. What a day it is for him.
I tell
Jamie
you what,
has to pit. It's not even like just damp where you can stay out. He has to pit.
Yeah, but do full wets ever get into the conversation here? That's the question. That's really what you got to ask, because if it gets any heavier than this, we see how quickly the track changes. We saw it twice in qualifying, how quickly it became too wet for even the wets. And then, and OKK's been involved in an accident with Iceman, and he's going to have to come back out. Don't run over the debris, you can get punctures via that.
Iceman finds himself back up in P5 now.
Yeah.
With Red Map behind. Iceman, by the way, and Red Map both advance if it stays like this. So they're not too concerned.
Can I just say, Kieran is absolutely flying out here. He's gained a second already on Casper. If he keeps doing that lap after lap, is there an opportunity on the last lap perhaps to have a go? Has he got a car that's more sort of tuned for these sort of situations? This could be some finish for him if he can just keep this pace up.
His penalty situation is the same as Casper's, so it's very much for the race win then.
And what actually is Casper's situation? He's got 1 warning only since his last penalty. Kieran's on 2 since his last penalty, so he's got to be careful. But he seems generally quicker through the corners, does Kieran. For instance, the chicane here, he's going to gain a bit of time, and you can see he does. The first sector, he must gain a load of time. And 3 laps. Is it enough? He certainly seems so confident. And look at how heavy the rain is, Jacko.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
This
Very
is
quickly.
fascinating, this.
All drivers have completed mandatory stops at this point, so we're not worried about pit stops anymore.
But people might risk it anyway. People might try it anyway. I mean, you can gain 10 seconds a lap here if you're on the right tyre.
It's too late, surely.
2 laps on this. Look how much Jamie and Corey lost, though. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but these are tricky conditions. These are tricky conditions regardless.
What a day. Don't jinx him yet, but what a day for P4. I won't say his name because that's when it goes wrong.
Well, look at his penalties. It has gone wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't on that page.
It's gone very wrong, actually. That's going to fall down quite a bit.
Never mind. Leroy's had a good day, though.
Again, let's just count it. He's okay for now, but give it another lap or two, it might not be. And everyone is starting to struggle a little bit out there on these tyres, but it doesn't look undrivable yet. But these guys are doing a very good job. I mean, if you're the leader of this race, Casper, you must be feeling a little bit nervous going into these last 2 laps with how the track is. I mean, that shot down at turn 1, look just how heavy the rain's coming down. I mean, you've got to look at him sliding through. He's just got to keep his composure, but sometimes it's hard to do that when the conditions are so unpredictable like this. And I tell you what, Kieran's still trying to turn the screw, put a little bit of pressure on.
He's
not
nibbling, isn't he?
Entirely sure he's going to be able to gain enough time though. And Casper's got fractionally more ERS at his disposal. But still, Kieran is giving it a decent go. And when's this first win going to come for him, I wonder? I mean, it's taken so long. And it's still, today, just doesn't look like it's going to quite happen yet. Because even though Casper's cutting a few corners out there, he's doing it at places where you're not getting warnings. He's playing this track, and look at him losing the rear as he heads out of the hairpin. Kieran's going to be hating this. He's going to be hating this because he knows he's the quicker driver right now.
Imagine what it would do for his confidence to win at this point in the season as well. It'll carry you through. It carries you to the Championship 5, an early postseason win. 2.3, the gap actually extended at the end of that lap there. Casper, 1 to go. Not sponsored by anybody, because we're not legally obliged to say that, because we don't have any sponsors.
Have you been told off?
No, I'm just covering myself in case. Canada, once again, without the incidents this season, has proven to be a right old spectacle.
It has indeed.
Sector 1 complete. The gap, 2 seconds. Kieran needs a mistake, or it's going to be Casper sailing, to use an apt term, sailing into the round of 8.
And I tell you what, how many people would have said after the first couple of races this season that we'd be watching Casper take the most wins by this point in the season? It's not done yet. He is still losing quite a lot of time. But, oh, look at them sliding. Oh, Casper, just keep it in the right direction, man. But if he can just get this to the line, it would be a 3rd victory of the season. 3 other drivers have 2. Them being Ben, Matt, and Corey. The other one to have 1 win is Kyle. But he has made it through the last corner. It is job done. Casper takes his 3rd victory of the season. Kieran with a very good 2nd place. Hopefully he's not going to be too disappointed with that because he showed some fantastic pace. And here comes Leroy. Who would have saw this one coming today? As he comes across the line. Hopefully he has it on penalties. I think he does. It is a podium, so well done to him. Iceman 4th, Redman 5th, Jamie J. Luke in 6th place. And we have the other Jamie of Griffiths in 7th. OKK comes home 8th, Corey 9th, and Jake will pick up 10th place. I make that then as OKK the highest finisher of the... or Jamie, sorry, the highest finisher of the chase drivers. So... as you said, without the accidents, we have received probably one of the best Canadian Grand Prix, actually. That one was thoroughly enjoyable, that.
I dare say one of the better races ever out of us, the 77 we've had. Leroy with in-game driver today. I don't think that'd be too far wrong of a shout if he wins the driver vote, sorry, the fan vote later on this evening. But Casper, on his merry way, as the great Liam New would say.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, this is setting up a fantastic playoff season with these three on the podium. I mean, to start it off, we know Canada likes to shake it up, but boy, has it done so in a way that we really would not have expected. And Casper, is he slowly starting to come through as the favourite for this thing? Because he was decent in the dry as well. You know, he had the pace earlier on. That's how he was in the position to pit for when the rain came. He showed fantastic pace throughout today, and I think he really could be a force to be reckoned with. But Kieran, again, really good stuff from him today. Second place. He is showing everyone that he is here for this title, so do not rule him out of anything ever. Leroy third, like I say, brilliant for him. Iceman fourth, got a bit unlucky with the strategy, I suppose. Red Matt fifth. Two Jamies in 6th and 7th. OKK, Corey, Gareth, and then Jake, Jordan, Essie Mats, Ben Spurs, Yuri, and then the retirements, only two of them, Jake and MK Bourne.
I make that, in chase terms, Jamie Griffiths on 510 points to Michael O'KK's 509. So Jamie Griffiths leads the chase. Red Matt, Iceman, Casper, all through to the round of 8 in the playoffs. And Kieran, by the way, you know he stayed out for stage 2, won the stage. He also picked up fastest lap and a podium. So picks up P2 and 3 playoff points. That's 19 points towards his postseason total so far. That's a brilliant day for Kieran. He didn't get the win, but it's a brilliant day for him.
And Casper is saying, and I didn't see this, but apparently he also had a puncture.
Really?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Maybe that's why he was in the pits during the safety car earlier on.
Ah.
We didn't quite clock that one, but that'd be 3 punctures we saw today. That's quite rare. I haven't seen that since Hanoi.
Hanoi, yeah.
Yeah.
What an only visit too.
Yes, indeed. The one time we went there, I think we saw 4 or 5 separate punctures. So, yeah, that's would certainly be second place for most punctures we've seen in the JACKOCAR race. But that is how it goes here. And really, what else did you expect? And you'll get more of it next week in Monza. We saw possibly the most incredible finish to a JACKOCAR race ever there last season. It may not be topped, but we will give it our best try. So join us then, 7 PM next Thursday for the Italian Grand Prix, the next stage of the playoffs. Thank you all for watching, and safe travels everyone.